Nearly 70 people die in a fiery riot in a Venezuelan jail. And in sport, a former regional cricketer stumped by the ball tampering scandal that has rocked Australian cricket. I'm Ricardo Roberts and this is Caribbean in 10 for Thursday, March 29th. I'll be back with the details after the break.
Well, it's important that the younger generation understands the threats to sea turtles because they're the next generation of environmental stewards. If we don't teach them young to be environmentally conscious, they won't be. They'll continue to throw plastic in the environment. They just won't do what's right for the animals out there.
Okay. So what do you try to teach them?
Well, first thing in here, we do a program here called Rescue to Release. We actually rescue a sea turtle.
And just transfer these ramekins onto a wire rack to cool to room temperature. Once they're at room temperature, you can pop them in the fridge until they're fully chilled by putting about 1 to 2 teaspoons of sugar over the top of each creme brulee and swirl that around to coat the top evenly. So just start flaming the top and move in a circular motion. That way you're evenly browning the top rather than burning the sugar.
At least 68 people died in a fire that broke out during a riot at a jail in the northern Venezuelan city of Valencia late yesterday. The blaze reportedly started after prisoners set fire to mattresses in an attempt to break out. Family members, desperate for information, clashed with police officers. And according to local reports, police used tear gas to disperse the relatives. Local opposition lawmaker Juan Miguel Macias said the tragedy was compounded by the long wait for answers as people demanded to know what had happened. No one was allowed to see the bodies long after the fire had been extinguished. The country's head prosecutor, Tariq William Sayab, announced a death toll of 68, including 2 women who were likely visitors. He promised an investigation into the events. And Trinidad and Tobago's opposition leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar has described as a malicious, deliberate falsehood statements by Attorney General Faris Alwari linking her former government to the illegal activities of political consulting firm Cambridge Analytica, which harvested the data of the country's population. And she says her United National Congress plans to file a motion of breach of privilege against the Attorney General for his statements. Yesterday, Alwari told Parliament that whistleblower Christopher Wiley told United Kingdom lawmakers the British company had undertaken work in the Twin Island Republic in 2013 under the Persad-Bissessar's People's Partnership Administration. Wiley himself referred to contractual documents and emails regarding projects carried out by IQ and affiliate company of Cambridge Analytica, including in Trinidad and Tobago.
One of them was for the, at the time, the Minister of National Security of Trinidad. In the contractual documents and then also email chains, AIQ, part of the project was to go out and find a way of accessing raw internet service provider data for the entire country to monitor what people were browsing in that country. As I understand it, that's not legal in Trinidad. It certainly wouldn't be legal here.
But in a statement issued yesterday evening, Persad-Bissessar maintained that neither she nor her UNC ever contacted Cambridge Analytica. She also seemed to suggest that any involvement the British firm had in Trinidad and Tobago was with the Congress of the People, a member of the coalition's People's Partnership government that she headed. She said a Google search led her to an article published by CBS News, which stated that Cambridge Analytica's first contract with a strategic communications laboratory was in 2013 for political work in Trinidad and Tobago with the COP. Antigua and Barbuda's cabinet says preparations for the 2018 hurricane season have begun. Government's Chief of Staff Lionel Max Hurst announced that funds have been set aside to commence the cleaning of drains, the removal of overhanging tree branches from electricity and telephone wires, and the provision of resources to the National Office of Disaster Services. He said the preparatory work is intended to reduce any damage to homes, businesses, and institutions should a weather system hit the Twin Island nation. Last September, Hurricane Irma devastated Barbuda and forced residents there to move to the mainland Antigua. Hurst said the cabinet also agreed to strengthen the program that allows for indigent home owners of vulnerable homes to have their dwelling places strengthened before the hurricane season arrives. Stay with us, your Midday Sport is next. A former regional cricketer reacts to the ball tampering scandal that has rocked Australian cricket, saying that he was totally taken by surprise. Captain Steve Smith and batsman David Warner and Cameron Bancroft have been banned by Cricket Australia for the incident in the third test against South Africa. Smith admitted that the Aussie leadership group had devised a plan to tamper with the ball, and Cricket Australia's investigation found Warner instructed Bancroft how to carry it out. Now, the 25-year-old Bancroft, who was playing his 8th test, admitted to using sandpaper to damage the ball after initially claiming he used tape. But in an interview with TV6's Vinod Nawani, Phil Wallace expressed his surprise since, according to him, the Aussies would have been the first among cricketing nations to protest illegal actions by other teams.
Yes, I was shocked that has happened. When you look at it, when you look at Australia's cricket, it's always been aggressive. Their cricket has been built on aggression. And you never really thought Australians would have been the ones to do those kind of things. Because when those things happened before, to other players, they were the ones who were very vocal and saying that is not the way to play. And obviously they will label the other players as cheats.
Wallace explained why he thinks a West Indies player would not go down the path of cheating to win matches.
We don't play cricket like that in the West Indies. We might give you some chat, but we don't scratch balls and do those kind of things. And I cannot see a West Indian cricketer being caught, or West Indies cricket team being caught doing this kind of thing during a test match or during any kind of cricket. We enjoy cricket, and we just play cricket naturally. What will be, will be.
Switching sports now, Bermuda's Carifta Games squad flew to the Bahamas yesterday without 800-meter runner Nairobi Mills, who was forced to pull out at the last minute with an unspecified injury. The withdrawal of the 15-year-old, who was to make his first Carifta appearance, left the squad with 13 athletes. Now, high jumpers Elisha Darrell and Shakari Famous lead Bermuda's bid for medals at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium, with the Bahamas hosting the games, first held in 1972 for an 8th time. That's Caribbean in 10. Join us again at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Good afternoon.